right, and we are live. All right, sports update, fellas, was good.
What's good?
Right back at him another episode. So, yeah, just wanted to jump right into it, man. Start off with the NBA with the blockbuster trade of the year. We had Luka Doncic traded to the Lakers for Anthony Davis. So Adrian, what was your take of this trade, and who you feel as though has a better chance to come out the West now, the Mavericks or the Lakers?
All right. I'll answer the first question first. Initially, I came back from my cousin had a birthday party. He just turned 22, so he had a little birthday party at his house. I came home, was sitting on the couch, catching up on some highlights, talking to my cousin, and my phone goes off, and I look at my phone, and I was like, it said it got like breaking news, and I was like,
Adrian said I drank a little bit too much of this party.
I said, whoa, this can't be real. So I'm like, Sean, because I get this alert. So I'm like on Twitter. So I open Twitter up and I start scrolling through and I start seeing little after little. I'm like, no, this can't be real. And I wait and I see Chris Haynes reported. I seen a couple other guys reported. And I'm like, there's no freaking way. And I remember I text both of y'all and I was just like, this can't be real, because I sat up and was watching the Gonzaga game as well. So I'm like, there's no freaking way. And I know everybody thought Shams got hacked. And he ended up coming out saying he didn't. I was just shocked, and I had to go to sleep and wake up, and I was still shocked. I'm literally still a little surprised. Like, it's kind of wearing off now, but 48 hours later, it's crazy, man. Ultimately, I think for now, I think that the Mavericks right now, as we stand, they won the trade as of now, but the Lakers, if
we got them freezing up a little bit.
Right now, I think Dallas has won this trade. Put who played
You're freezing up a little bit. You were freezing up a little bit. Oh, we lost him. He'll be back in just a second. I think I'll go off what he was saying. I think that it was. Here he's back. I'll let him go then. You started. No, you're good. You said that you think that as of right now the Mavs won the trade, and that's where we lost you.
Yeah, I think they won the trade. You add AD to that starting lineup, put him at the 4 where he wants to play anyways, his natural position. I know they said something about closing out at the 5, but I just think it's good for AD. I think now he doesn't have the pressure. He can be the number one option. Kyrie's going to let him get his points. Kyrie's going to feed him the ball. It's almost like Dirk with defense. You know what I mean? Anthony Davis is gonna go berserk, I think, in Dallas. I think I know initially he was shocked by the trade, but I think he's kind of, in a sense, relieved a little bit, because he's not under the pressure of having to play with LeBron and have these high expectations. But Dallas's roster is not bad. I think they can compete in the West. I think they can go further than the Lakers. I know their record is not as good as the Lakers right now, but Luka was hurt anyway, so they didn't even have him since around Christmas time. But like I said, the Lakers will be better in the long term if they can put some guys around Luka and LeBron. But the biggest problem with them, their defense already struggled with AD in the lineup. Now you don't have any rim protection. LeBron can play defense first. Luka doesn't play defense, doesn't try. So I think the Lakers are kind of punting on the rest of this season, I believe, and are going to try to add a star in the offseason. But as of now, Dallas can compete and have a chance to win the West, I believe, if AD plays at his full potential and him and Kyrie in the pick and roll. And I'll let Reid go. I got something to say that I was reading earlier, but I'll let Reid go and give his thoughts before we move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, Adrian kind of just said everything that that I was thinking. I was shocked too. I mean, I think all these people were like, the group chats that I was in, the other group chats, people thought I was crazy for saying that the Mavs kind of won this trade, in the sense of I don't think they really understood what I was trying to say, because it's hard to interpret over text. But the Mavs definitely won right now, like Adrian said. I mean, you have 2 vets, Kyrie. And you have 3 technically. I mean, if Clay can figure it out, but you have Kyrie, you have AD. Now you can maybe get a little more spacing, pulling guys in down low to try and get to AD. PJ Washington's playing great. I know they just traded Quentin Grimes, who was playing really good for them, but I mean, you still have 3 guys that are solid veterans that 3 have won championships actually, because Anthony Davis was on that championship team with the Lakers. So I mean, you have 3 guys that have won championships. So it's definitely good for the Mavericks right now. The thing for me with Dallas is, yes, Luka's an incredible player, top 5 player, arguably top 3 when he's healthy. Like Adrian said, no defense. for that Lakers team. They don't have a big now. Jackson Hayes cannot play the 5. He's not big enough. I mean, you have, maybe a future in Dalton Connect. You can see what you can do there. They might have to trade Austin Reeves for more assets because I don't know how much, he's going to benefit from this trade. But, I mean, he's also a good shooter, so it is what it is. But he's not going to be handling the ball. He already doesn't really handle the ball with LeBron there. And now, LeBron takes up the ball. Luka can take the ball up. So they don't really have any size and no rim protection. So I was saying to someone the other day, it's going to be, Lakers are going to have to score 120, 130 points just to stay in the games because they're not going to be able to block any. But they're like the Nuggets are gonna work them. I think an OKC team would work them with Hartenstein down low. Like there's a lot of teams out west. I mean, even Timberwolves with Gobert. Like a lot of guys are just going to work them down low, and they're not going to be able to do a lot against them. Like Adrian said, maybe punt on this season, see what you can get in free agency. I haven't looked at who the top free agents are next year. So, I mean, it's great for the future. Luke was only 25, but I've said time before, like the Lakers already, kind of washed away all their assets, getting LeBron and all these other players. So they don't really have a whole lot to go off of, considering their younger players and, I said like their farm system, like their G League team doesn't really have any superstars on it. Bronny obviously isn't going to be the next LeBron. Dalton Connect obviously, like I said, has a future, but he's almost the same age as Luka. He's 23, so it's like you have
24.
Yeah, so you have these guys that just what are they going to be able to? It's LA, so they'll be able to bring in anybody and they'll be able to spend the money. But it's just it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
No, my bad.
I don't see why LA didn't add one of Dallas' centers, Gafford or Lively, in the package. Like you get back Keebler and Markieff Morris. Like I would have tried to get PJ Washington or one of the centers.
Yeah,
I mean, guys, think about this. Like this trade was kept under wraps, right? Nobody knew about it. They're saying LeBron didn't know about it. Jason Kidd didn't know about it. Rich Paul and Nico Harrison and Rob Pelinka were pretty much the only people to know about this. I don't know. I'm gonna say this. I think what it comes down to is the Mavs. Something's going on with Luka, where something happened, or there's something that's been happening that they're not talking about because Luka keeps hurting his calf. He's lazy on defense. He's always crying. And at some point he was eligible in this offseason for the Supermax, which is $354 million. And mind you, Dallas got new ownership this past year. Mark Cuban gave up most of his stake. He still has some in there, but he got the new owners. I forgot the family's name, but I'm not sure how much they know about basketball. But I think this move came from up top from ownership and saying we got to get him out of here because they don't want to pay him that Supermax. And then also just not knowing if Luka's dedicated. And if he can't go over there and LeBron can't motivate him, then what is his career going to really be? He's going to put up numbers. I know he's second all-time in points per game in the playoffs, and he got to the finals. But, I mean, you still have to surround him with some talent. LeBron's not getting any younger. He's more so on his way out than he is, to the start. And Lakers always find a way to get a star, like every single time. It doesn't matter. But I honestly think right now, if we're looking at it, both teams want to trade as of right now. I think two things can be the same. But if I'm a star, I don't know if I want to go play with LeBron and Luka. That's too many ball dominant guys. Like I said, they're lacking rim presence for sure. But it's crazy, man. Like it was a shocking trade, no doubt about it. I think if David Stern was still alive and running the NBA, I guarantee both of you guys this would not have happened. I can mark my words on that one.
Like a thing I'll say, so I just looked this up really quickly, and it's the top 10 free agents for next year. So, like, I mean, they could go and potentially, I mean, I don't know how badly he would want to leave, but everybody would want to go to LA. Like a guy like Miles Turner, he's a center. Obviously we know he's a center in Indiana. He's a great center that they could pick up. Obviously they'll be able to pay him. Kuminga is going to be a free agent coming up next year. A guy who's not really known to be a starting center, but he's a really good, obviously sixth man is Naz Reid. He's going to be a free agent. But it's just a lot of like point guards and shooting guards. There's not a whole lot of like size and defense coming off. I mean, Cam Thomas, maybe if they want to go get him, but there's just not a lot of size that's around for free agency next year. And obviously they can make another trade if they want next year. It's just John Collins is another guy who's a free agent. It's just, there's a lot of shooting guards, a lot of point guards for free agent next year. So it's not like there's any other than, obviously the older guys, your Jimmy Butlers, your your LeBrons, your Kyrie's, like those guys are all older. They're free agents next year. But Julius Randle, I don't know how badly you'd want him. Brandon Ingram would be an interesting one to make a return back to LA. Keep him, but I don't think that would happen. It's just not a big free agent pool next season. But it is the Lakers. It's LA. It's a big market. Everybody's going to want to go there, especially if they get starting time.
What about a guy like Embiid?
No,
I mean, but you look at it. I mean, yeah, sure, that would be great teaming him and Luka up. But how often are those guys going to be on the court? You know what I mean?
the thing, yeah.
And we've talked about it, Raj. We talked about it, Raj. And if Embiid goes out there, he's going to have to go and play Denver and some of these teams in the altitude where he doesn't like playing. So it's like, I don't know if that would be a great spot for him to even go anyway. But I mean, obviously he's a superstar. People love him, but he's older. He's barely played this season. And I just don't know if, Luka is going to be, again, Luka has, time on his side. He's 25, but he just got to, figure out his health and figure out if he's going to lose weight or whatnot.
I know Luka did guarantee that there's no guarantee, or he pretty much said it's not going to guarantee that that's guaranteed that he's going to sign an extension this offseason. So things could get really, really interesting. Imagine if that happens, they trade for Luka and don't even get him to sign an extension. Because my boy, one of my homeboys at work said this was his theory. I'm not saying it's crazy, but he says he can imagine a world where Luka decides he wants to go to Denver and pair up with Jokic. That would be.
I've always said that.
Yeah, that would bring internet. I just don't think in this world now, because look at it, guys. We grew up in the era where we had good superstars, right? So my philosophy on it is now like LeBron, KD, Russ, Steph. These other superstars are pretty much almost on their way out. We got a few years left of these guys, and I respect them, and I love what they did for the game. But I just don't think a lot of these teams, the younger teams, they don't want to do LeBron no favors. They definitely don't want to do Steph no favors. They're like, hey, you guys have won your 4 rings. Hey, let us we're not helping you out. They don't want to help the Lakers out because it's already easy enough to attract stars to the bigger markets. But I just don't think teams want to do them any favors at all. But also, you did talk about the Dallas did acquiring Caleb Martin from Philly. Great pickup. Kind of like a wing guy, 3-and-D, can shoot, play defense. It gives you good attitude. Also, I did read a report from the Athletic that said their dream. This I don't think this is gonna happen, but Dallas dreams of pairing KD with AD and Kyrie, which would be, we talk about breaking the internet. That would be absolutely insane because we already know KD can play without the basketball. He doesn't need to average 25 easily. So that would be something. But I do think there will be something crazy is going to happen before the Thursday deadline. I can just feel it. The NBA is trying to take advantage of this time, and the Super Bowl week is really just getting kicked off, and the NBA is trying to, draw some attention and get people back in, reel them in, and they're doing a good job.
One last thing on this. Put your tinfoil hats on, boys. There's been the theory for the last couple of years now, probably the last 2 or 3 years, of LeBron wanting to go and play with Steph in Golden State. What if before Thursday or on Thursday, trade deadline's ending, LeBron gets traded, Lakers trying, capitalize on LeBron's, trade value, trade him to Golden State and get a few young guys that they have, and LeBron goes out to Golden State with Steph. I think that would probably bring a lot of viewership to the NBA. But I think Adrian's right. I mean, the Super Bowl's right around the corner. They got smoked on Christmas for the NFL games. Like, I think that they want to bring ratings back, and they don't care where players go now.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I think with that trade, I think that's the owner showing that they want control back. We all know the NBA is a players' league. I think a trade like that shows that we're trying to swing the pendulum. We're trying to get the momentum back.
Yeah.
And I like what Dallas did a lot. Like, don't be surprised if we see a finals rematch again with Mavericks in Boston.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth, Raj. Pretty much, I just think now the league has been so frustrated with the load management, with players skipping games, with demanding trades, not signing extensions, trying to make it more even balance for the smaller markets compared to the bigger markets, and that just shows you. Luka is 25 years old. He's just entering his prime, and he gets traded. So I think this put a lot of guys in the league on notice, like, hey, we can trade you at any moment in time. Don't get too comfortable. And I kind of like that a little bit because it puts more pressure on them, because as fans, we want to see the best players out there all the time. We want to see you guys competing and trying hard. And there's not a lot of teams in this league that are actually putting their best foot forward. We fortunately have the Pistons who are, giving us a good entertainment for the first time in years. But it just that's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's just I want to see good basketball. I want to be able to turn on say League Pass and watch Milwaukee versus OKC, and know I'm going to see SGA, Jalen Williams, and Chet. I mean, he's injured right now, but that's a big injury. Versus Giannis and Dame. Like yesterday, Giannis, Dame, and Bobby Portis and Middleton didn't play against OKC, and they lost by 40 points. They were down 36 at halftime. To me, that is ridiculous. We see these crazy scores where teams are just getting blown out by 30, and it's just so unpredictable. We need to see more balance like it used to be.
For sure. Yeah, these NBA guys is divas, man. All right, let's see some of the feedback here. Axe says Brian needs another championship.
He won't.
And then Ali says, I don't see Brian getting another ring.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see it unless he gets like the perfect scenario, or like gets traded to like OKC or something. Like that could help him, or Denver, like one of those two, just ring chase. But then that kind of tarnishes his legacy now.
I don't see it this season, but if they get a big splash in free agency in the offseason, maybe next year. But this year, no, it's over with. All right, last one here. DC says, if the Bucks don't win a title within the next 3 years, Giannis to the Lakers when LeBron retires. You heard it here first. Stay tuned.
I mean, it's not crazy, but I don't think Giannis is. I don't think Giannis is going to. He doesn't suit me as a LA kind of guy.
Yeah, I would see Giannis in like a New York market more than like an LA
or Miami.
Or like a Miami. He did say in a interview that he wanted all the European guys in big markets. So, I mean,
I did see that.
We'll see. Maybe he will. It all depends on what, like you said, Raj, ownership's taking. They want to take back their stake, so maybe they won't trade him to a big market team.
For sure.
I did want to say, sorry, before I forget, because I just made a reminder because you said the Bucks. I was reading a report on Twitter. Let me read it real quick for you guys. Here we go. It said developing Chris Middleton to the Wizards for Kyle Kuzma and Jonas Valanciunas and Jurkic swap is getting close. So be on the lookout for that. We could be seeing Kyle Kuzma to the Bucks, which I think will be a big improvement for them. Kyle Kuzma can shoot, play a little defense. Much younger than Chris Middleton, who's seemingly fallen off a cliff since they won that championship. Has always been hurt. So I think that'd be a great addition for the Bucks.
Kuzma's just trying to get off that team.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame him?
Yeah, Kuzma actually plays. Middleton's only good for about 25 games a season at this stage in his career. So, yeah, I think that the Bulls were shopping Lonzo around for a second-round pick too. So
I heard the Pistons were interested, guys. I'm just telling you what I heard. I heard it on 97.1.
I heard that too.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that one.
I agree.
All right, so we got the Super Bowl this Sunday, Reid. Chiefs 2-point favorite. Over under on this one, 48.5. What's your prediction for the game?
Without getting too conspiracy theorist-esque, I think honestly the more well-rounded team is Philly. I think Philly has everything to lose in this game. I think they're going to try and empty the tank, but unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough because I do think that it will be a little bit of because there's so much news coming out about this Bills Chiefs game and Dean Blandino came out and said, I know we don't love Dean Blandino in Detroit, but he came out and said how it was the wrong call. A lot of refs came out and said that. So I do ultimately think it's going to come down and the Chiefs are going to win it because I think that it's good for, we were just talking about NBA marketing. I think it's good for marketing to see, a three-peat. Does that mean that the refs are fully going to, blow the game? No, I just think the Chiefs can be a good team and can win it. So you said 48.5 is the over-under. I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, I could see this being a higher scoring game. I mean, Philly put up they put up 40+ against the Commanders. The Chiefs defense is kind of been a little lackluster this season. I mean, they're still great. It just all is going to come down to if the Eagles want to win, it's going to come down to having to trust Jalen Hurts a little more than you probably want to. I think he can make a few mistakes. He's probably going to do a lot more with his legs than he would with his arm in this game. Rely a lot on Saquon and that defensive line. I don't think you're going to see a huge game from these wide receivers. I think it's going to be a majority of Saquon and Jalen Hurts rushing the ball. And then on the Chiefs side, I think they're going to use a lot of obviously a lot of Kelsey, but I think a lot of Xavier Worthy in this game. I think the Chiefs win it. I think it's going to be 32-28 Chiefs.
Okay. I thought you was going to be running with Philly.
Well, a couple points. I agree with a lot what Reid said. I actually think I'm looking at the score. I forgot that they did play a couple years ago. People are not happy about the rematch. I'm not fine. I think it was the two best teams currently as we stand right now for the end of the season, especially with injuries and everything. But it was 38-35. Last one, remember they went on a James Bradbury PI on Juju Smith-Schuster, fixed the game-winning field goal. What was that, like 2 seconds left or something like that?
Yeah.
But what was the over-under again? I'm sorry, Raj.
48.5.
48.5.
40, I think it goes over 40, just slightly over 48.5. I do think the Eagles are the better, like Reid said, the better team. I actually think this Philly team is better than the Philly team that was in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Defense is extremely better. I do think Patrick Mahomes finds a way to take advantage of some of their rookies, especially Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell, because I think Andy Reid's going to go look at the tape and find something to exploit them with. But give me the Chiefs 31-27.
Okay. Clean sweep here. I'm running with the Chiefs. The Eagles, they have the formula to beat the Chiefs. They can run the ball. You can try to win time of possession, keep Mahomes off the field. But all in all, man, this Mahomes, Andy Reid formula, man, they just find ways to win. They just know how to win. And I have no reason to bet against them. I think the Eagles have the best chance of beating them. They can make it close, but I'm not betting against Mahomes and Andy Reid, man. I like the Chiefs in this one. And if the Chiefs win, this will be Mahomes' third ring or fourth.
Yep.
It'd be his third,
fourth ring, three in a row, fourth ring.
Okay.
That'll put him 4-1 in the Super Bowl if he wins this Super Bowl.
4-1 and 3 Super Bowl MVPs. So yeah, if he gets his fourth one right here, when we talk about the GOAT conversation, he's gonna be pretty much top 3 at that point. Top 2, top 3.
He'll be up there. He'll be top 3 for sure, but I wouldn't put him close to Brady yet.
Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah,
I'm talking about as far as under Brady, he's gonna be right there.
The thing that the Eagles really need to be careful on, and I know that every team tries to be careful on it, is just they need to control the penalties. Just don't get a lot of penalties. That's what kills a lot of teams when they're playing the Chiefs. And I know it's hard to do because a lot of times we have the Mahomes fake slides and things like that, and then the Eagles can just kind of play sloppy sometimes. There's a lot of younger players, so I think they just need to clean up the penalties. Chiefs are wearing there's so many stats that come out where it's teams are 16-4 when they wear the white jerseys, but then it was another stat was the last 7 Super Bowls, the team that travels, the team in the West that travels to the East, and the team in the East that travels to the West, the team in the East always wins. It's so many weird stats that come out. So I don't know. They're all contradicting each other. Eagles players, if any of you catch a glimpse of this and happen to watch, I know you will, wear white gloves so you don't get as many holding or PI calls as you can. Then you got to do the old white glove trick.
Yeah. All right. See some of the feedback here. Ali says, if Hurts wins a Super Bowl, is he better than Allen and Lamar?
No.
I agree. I say no because I don't think the reason he would need to be better than Allen, or the only way I could say that he was better than Allen Lamar is if he completely controls the game. It comes out and he's the reason they win. I'd give him maybe a slight edge, but his team is so much better than that Ravens and Buffalo team. His team is the Monstars basically. They're a bunch of freaks. That defensive line's unreal. Offensive line's great. You have Saquon, 2-star wide receivers. That team is very good. I think Jalen Hurts doesn't have to do a lot to win games.
Yeah, I agree with what he said. Yes, if Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen was on this team, they'd be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They'd be in the Super Bowl too. So Josh Allen was working with limited weapons. Lamar's defense isn't as good as Philly. So yeah, absolutely not. But shout out to what Jalen Hurts is doing. Second Super Bowl in 3 years. So, but still can't take him over those two.
For sure. Then DC here says, what if Mahomes somehow four-peats? Will he surpass Brady then?
No.
I think a lot of people would talk about it, but it's like, yeah, I mean, the main thing it comes down to is the Jordan thing too. I mean, he's not going to have as many rings as Brady, and I don't think he did it as dominant as Brady did. So no, I would say he wouldn't. He'd definitely be number 2. He'd be 1B GOAT conversation, but he wouldn't be better. I wouldn't put him over Brady still.
I would say let's let him win his 3rd ring in a row first, and then we can have this discussion about him winning 4 in a row. Let's not get too carried away, but he's already in the discussion.
For sure. All right, so Adrian, Myles Garrett has requested a trade from the Browns. What do you think is the best fit for Myles Garrett?
Mainly, I think if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I don't trade him in conference. But one team that I can think about in the AFC that would be good fit for him would be Buffalo. The other teams that I thought about would be the Lions, the Packers, the Bears, and I think the biggest dangerous team that you don't want him to go to is the Washington Commanders. With Dan Quinn coaching him up, I think those would be the most likely teams. I think Washington, or the Lions would be the best fit for him.
Yeah, I think, I've seen the Ravens, Chuck Pagano and Lamar were doing some recruiting. Lamar did like an AI image with Myles Garrett in a Ravens uniform. I don't think the Browns trade him in division, especially not, to the people up the road that they play 2 times a year. So I don't think they would do that necessarily. And considering the Ravens pick is also super high. I obviously think the Lions would be a great fit. Him opposite of Aiden would be unreal. It would be like Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware of those Broncos Super Bowl teams and plenty of other multi-rushers. So I think the Lions would be great. Obviously the Bears are looking for somebody to do opposite of Montez Sweat. The Packers, like Adrian said, have, Gary and if you add Myles Garrett, that's a great team. I think they go with the team that's going to offer them the most, honestly, and try not to do it in division. So whether it's the Bills or the Bills or the Ravens, I think the AFC teams are probably not going to be there. I think the Commanders could be a likely team. They have some good assets that they could give away, but ultimately the team I obviously would like them to go to is the Lions. So, I think the Lions would be a great fit for him too. It would be an insane matchup to have to block Aiden and Myles Garrett, and then also if he comes back healthy with Lee McNeil, and you have DJ Reader one more year, that defensive line would be scary. That defensive line would be gross.
Yeah, for sure. They're definitely going to get a haul back for him. So I guess they got to just pretty much weigh the options. Who what deal makes the most sense? But they're going to have a lot of offers on the table. Shout out Jaleel for the $10 donation. Appreciate you, Jaleel. I think we know who Jaleel's rooting for in the Super Bowl.
Oh, he's nervous.
All right, so Adrian, the Rams also notified Cooper Kupp that they're going to be moving on from him. So what do you think is the best landing spot for Cooper Kupp?
I think the Chargers will be a good fit for him. Let's see. My Steelers will be a good fit. We need another wide receiver. Broncos will be a good fit. Any team really wide receiver we need. Even the Texans. Somewhere with a veteran quarterback, I believe. Kupp still has a lot left in the tank. I just think it's time for him to get a fresh start and find a new home. The Rams said they would be willing to pay $7.5 million of his rest of his contract. I believe they owe him like $20 million or something like that. So that'd be even be more entertaining for an eligible team that kind of needs him. So.
I think the Broncos would be a good one. I think, like Adrian said, the Chargers reunite him with Goff and the Lions if they don't re-sign Tim Patrick. I know he's kind of still a slot guy, but he could be an old reliable that Goff could reunite with. He used him a lot when he was in LA, so I think the Lions could be a good landing spot, especially if you don't have to give up a lot for him. Another team we just mentioned with Myles Garrett, if the Commanders could go after him. The Commanders. They have, obviously, you had guys that De'Ami Brown and Zacchaeus and a few of these other guys, played well. But if you get a guy of Cooper Kupp's caliber, that's going to help you a lot more, put him opposite of Scary Terry. I think the Commanders would be good. Obviously, the Ravens always need help at wide receiver. They always seem to have, a problem there. But ultimately, I think the best landing spot, just because of familiarity with the quarterback, would be the Lions. And I know it sounds cliche of me being a Lions fan saying let's just get everybody, but I just think that he'd be a good fit in the place where he knows the quarterback. He would have a very good role on the team. a guy that just can basically reel in any ball that comes his way. So ultimately, I think the Chargers are probably a really good fit for him, and I think the Commanders, if obviously he doesn't go to the Lions, those two would probably be my top two picks.
Yeah, Chargers make a lot of sense because he's not going to have to move. They already got the quarterback in place, the coach in place, and they need wide receiver help. So yeah, Chargers make a lot of sense. All right, let's see. DC said, "Would you trade Branch for Garrett?"
Straight up, or if it's straight up, absolutely, I probably would. I mean, I love Brian Branch, but Myles Garrett gives you a lot more. Like, if you have Myles Garrett and Aiden Hutchinson on the field, like, you could put Kendall Vildor out there and you could put Ennis Racier. Like, those guys aren't – the quarterback's going to have 2 seconds to throw the ball because he's not going to get – Lee McNeil's going to bring pressure. Aiden's going to bring pressure. Myles Garrett's going to bring pressure. So if it was straight up, like 1-for-1, I would 1,000% do it because he's also not that old. He doesn't turn 30 until, like, the beginning of the season, I want to say. So
December,
he's still got some time. He still definitely has gas left in the tank, and he's built like a freak. So, I mean, I would do that trade 1-for-1. But if you're saying I have to get 2 first-round picks and Brian Branch, I would probably not do that just because Brian Branch is so valuable. I would probably trade Kirby Joseph before I traded Brian Branch if I was going to include that in a deal.
Yeah, go ahead, throw Hendon Hooker in there too.
Yeah,
get him out of here.
All right, let's see. Jaleel says, "Feeling good, fellas. Go Birds." Okay,
it's a confident.
I love the confidence.
Yeah, confident in the squad. All right, so Reid, I wanted to get some Tigers in here. So the Tigers did just re-signed Jack Flaherty to a 2-year deal. They signed the second base Ben Torres. They signed the right-hand pitcher Alex Cobb. So with these offseason moves that the Tigers have done, you think they've done enough to get back to the playoffs? Is this an improved team going into 2025?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, you play in such a weak division. Obviously, Cleveland, kind of shocked people last year. But, the White Sox are a garbage can. The Royals are pretty old other than like Bobby Witt. They don't really have a whole lot. I mean, you re-sign Flaherty, who's familiar with your pitching staff. You have Skubal. You have Reese Olson, who was good for the first half of the year before that shoulder injury came around. Cobb is a good vet. He's a little older, but you only need him every 5th day or whatever you have him, or every 7th day or whatever. And then you have Jackson Jobe, who's I think shining Flaherty. You can you don't have to lean so much on Jackson Jobe being part of your pitching staff. I think if they do sign a guy like Bregman, if you can get one more solid bat on this team, I think they could handily win the division. So I think they'll definitely go back to the playoffs. They won't need as much luck. I think you signed Torres. You signed some good signings in the offseason, and it was a lot of what Tigers fans were asking. I think they're like 17th in payroll now or something like that when they were like bottom of the barrel before. So yeah, I think that these were great moves. I'm excited to see what the Bregman deal is. He turned down the Astros, which I think was 5 years, like 162, something like that. I know he wants a little bit more. I mean, I would probably, with how much you spend, I would offer him 5 years, 180 or whatever. I don't know if I get to maybe 6 at 2, but he gets a little bit older at that point. But I mean, you need the bat, and it's tough to say whether he, if he comes to Detroit and can hit home runs because Comerica's a longer field, so you'll have to see. But I mean, if they don't turn into home runs, they still at least turn into doubles and good singles. So if you can get Bregman, I think this team definitely is a playoff team come next season.
Yeah, I agree. I like what they're doing. These little sort of moves. You got Flaherty back, and actually that was good because you traded him away for a rental and got 2 playable players who can come in and give you production, which was good. He comes back after winning the World Series with the Dodgers. I got Fidel. How you say his last name?
Faedo,
yeah. Faedo got him. Just adding to the talent, getting Flaherty back helps. Skubal is not putting much pressure on them. I think Jackson Jobe will be good, but you still can kind of slowly develop him and bring him in. But they definitely need to get Bregman. Just spend a little bit over, get him. I think he'll be productive for you. I know Jelenic was saying they're going to make the World Series. Let's relax, Jelenic. Not just let. And our boy was hype. I get it, but you gotta spend that extra bread, man. Come on, man.
I will say the good thing about the Flaherty trade is it's 2 years, $35 million. The first year I think is $25 million, and then the second year is $10 million with a player opt out. So the smart move about that is if you do, end up needing something else like they already did with the Dodgers, where they got, the catcher and Sweeney back, and the catcher is, I can never, Theron, whatever, I can never say his name, but he's a top 100 prospect. And, if Flaherty ends up, maybe you're not going to make it to the playoffs, or maybe, something else goes wrong, you can trade Flaherty to a contender for another group of prospects, hopefully maybe in the first year or going into that second year before he hops out. So I think that was a smart move on Scott Harris's part.
Yeah. I like what they're doing. I like what they did with the pitching staff with Cobb, School bringing Flaherty back. Jackson Jobe is going to play a role. Nobody's really talking about Casey Mize. I mean, he can't be any worse than what he was last season. I feel like he can only go up from here. But even Mize, though, if Mize doesn't get it together by the deadline, he's a guy I wouldn't mind being seen moved either. Only thing I'm a little worried about is the bats. I don't know. I think looks like they're gonna depend on a lot of the younger guys, Justin Henry Malloy and Keith and these guys. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But like you said, if you got Bregman or somebody like that, he could be that bat you possibly need. So, I
mean, and you hope that Kerry Carpenter's not going to be out most of the season like he was last year. You got to hope that Colt Keith can produce at first base, because that's where he's getting switched to. The Mets are apparently really in the running. Yeah, that's official that he got moved to first.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Mets apparently are seriously considering trading for Torkelson. I've been seeing a lot of those rumors heating up. So I don't think they're going to re-sign Alonso. So that'd be interesting. I mean, he's a free agent anyway, but that'd be interesting to see. Getting rid of Torque and seeing what you can get for him. Maybe they wait until a little bit later in the season, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. It sucks that the two guys we got when we had number one picks didn't pan out.
That's got to be the worst luck ever. I swear, injuries and Torque is just. I'll give him a little time because he still has some time this season, but I don't know. Do you think Gleyber Torres is going to give him anything? Any good production?
I think you'll see a lot of singles and doubles. I mean, again, he hit, I think it was like 29 home runs at Yankee Stadium with a low right field. I mean, their outfields are super short at Yankee Stadium, so he hit that many home
right
runs.
Field is really short.
Yeah, so I just think you'll see a lot of doubles probably, a lot more like far singles potentially, but I don't think you're going to see as many home runs because Comerica Park is just such a big and a big field, and hitting. Unless you're hitting for serious power, it's hard to get a lot of home runs there.
Yeah, I'm expecting the Tigers to be back in the mix. Like you said, weak division. AL Central's weak. So, all right, we got Jaleel says, "Do you guys think my Phillies will be in the mix next year?"
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, I don't know who they lost or not, because obviously I'm not paying like super attention. But I mean, you still have Harper. I mean, Schwarber's still there, right? So like. I mean, they still have a good squad. I think that I also think that they're a team that will probably make adjustments if they need to, because they have the team in place. So yeah, I think Philly will still be fine.
Yeah, Philly be in the mix for sure. All right, so Reid, UFC, your boy Israel Adesanya lost his third straight fight. So what can Adesanya do at this point to salvage career, or is it over with? Is it just time to stick a fork in him?
Far from my boy, but I mean, unfortunately, I don't think he's ever going to get another title shot. In my opinion, I think that he's losing these fights. He's probably too far gone in these fights. I've been seeing a lot of memes about him, Usman, and Volkanovski going down. So I think would I say his career is done? No, I still think he'll compete at a high level, and I still think that he'll have some of the. I think his career is going to go kind of the way of like Anderson Silva of old, like, he started taking, fights of guys that are a little bit lower tier to try and get back up there. But I don't think he's ever going to get back to that championship status. I mean, he's what? Is he 31, something like that? How old is Adesanya?
He's older than that. He's like 36.
I don't think he's as old as Pereira, is he?
He is.
I think he's a little younger.
35.
Okay, 35. So he's the same age. So yeah, UFC fighters can stay for a long time, but I don't see him ever getting back to that championship status.
I don't see it either.
Yeah. So UFC 312 this weekend. You got the rematch of Duplessis and Strickland. They had the controversial first fight where Duplessis won it on the decision. So how do you see this fight going this Saturday?
It's such a hard one to gauge, man. It's like, because Strickland any day of the week can take down, the best guys. and he's done it. I mean, he beat Izzy. He's the only guy he's not beating is Pereira, obviously, but it's like I think he should have won the first fight against DPP. So it's like or DDP, sorry. I think it's just dude, it's such a hard fight to gauge right now. I would lean a little bit more towards Strickland just because I think he's such a psychopath, and I don't think that DDP is like that great of. I mean, he's obviously a good fighter as a champion, but I just think that he's like he gets lucky in a lot of these fights. There's a few fights where you see him; he's got slow punches. His ground game's not the greatest. Sean Strickland has Adesanya in his corner, or not Adesanya. I'm sorry. Pereira in his corner, which I don't know how much a guy who speaks only Portuguese is going to help you, but he's at least there in his camp, and he can talk to him before and kind of figure out what he wants to do. But ultimately, I'm going to go with Strickland on it just because I think he's such a head case, and I think that he's just going to empty everything he has into this fight and try and get the championship belt back. So I'd take Sean Strickland.
Yeah, so I'm going to agree. He's going to be out for blood, not for vengeance. Duplessis is a super cocky guy. But I think Strickland, he's got a strong chin. He's been known to throw those punches. He's got a hell of a punches, and I think he's going to hit Duplessis and knock him out. And then I'll go third round. I think he knocks him out.
Yeah, I like Strickland too. I don't think he's going to leave this fight in the judge's hands again. He's going to have to take business.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Strickland in this one too.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Jaleel says Fields haven't had a parade since 2008. The drought is killing me. SMH.
Yeah, we haven't had one.
The Phillies they won one more recently than that, didn't they?
No, they lost
to my Astros, baby, to my Astros.
Yeah, that was what
2023.
No, it was before that. It was either 22 or 23, one of those. I can't remember when my brother and his buddy moved into that house, and we were watching it. I don't remember how long ago that was. They were close. I mean, yeah, you haven't had a parade since 2008. We haven't had one since, 86?
Right.
So, I mean, we're being hurting too.
My Steelers ain't had a playoff win since 2016, so.
Yeah. Ack says, let's go Philly. Fly, Eagles, fly. Ack does not like Mahomes and the Chiefs. And then, Jaleel's running with that.
You're killing me right now.
Yeah, Marquette was close. They had it within – it should have been within one, and then they missed a basket, and now it's a minute 11 left, and they're down by 7. So I need them to get back. I need to get back within 2.5.
I took Penn State straight up. They're losing right now by 8 with 3 minutes left, and they're at home against Minnesota. This Minnesota team, every time his team is so bad.
Yeah. All right, so Adrian, we seen the big news out of boxing. Canelo and Terrence Crawford are supposed to be signing the contract for a fight September 13th. So yeah, how you feel about this? Because Crawford's last fight was at 154. They agreed to 168. So yeah, how you feel about this?
That's a big weight mover. But if anybody can do it, I think it's Terrence Crawford. If you ask me, starting off, I think Terrence Crawford can win this fight, and I think he will win this fight against Canelo.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest boxing guy, but I know Canelo. Sorry, a possum just walked across my back door. I think. I like Canelo, but he is older, so it kind of worries me. Obviously Crawford is an amazing fighter. He's younger. So I don't know much about boxing. I'm sure did you say the odds? They don't have the odds out yet, right?
No, but Canelo's going to fight on Cinco de Mayo. He always fights on Cinco de Mayo. So he's going to fight then, and then they're going to fight later in the year.
Okay. If I had a guess, I would assume Canelo's the favorite, right? If I had
Canelo's probably going to be the favorite because Bud's going up in weight. So
yeah, okay. That's a little tough that he's going up in weight. I don't know. How much is he going up?
He's going up 2 weight classes. His last fight was at 154. His fight before that fight was at 147. So
and he's going up to what?
168.
Oh,
yeah, that's 14 pounds. That's a little insane.
Yeah,
he could be dangerous at 14 pounds, but I don't know if you got to go up 2 weight classes and you got to put on that much weight. I would have to run with Canelo just because you're going into his house. It's hard to move up that much weight and kind of be used to that. You know what I mean? Like guys always talk about how they move weight, they go up in weight and they don't realize how taxing it is to move around at a different weight, especially 14 pounds. I mean, man, that's walk around with a 14-pound jacket on. You don't even realize how much like the difference is until you take it off. So, I mean, I have to say Canelo just because that scenario only, but again, I'm not like well-versed in boxing as much as you guys are. So, I mean, I'll take Canelo just because he's the favorite and I like Canelo, but I don't really have much more to add.
Yeah, I mean, salute to Bud for even doing that, giving us this fight and going up in weight to even do that, because that's the only way this fight was going to happen. Canelo wasn't going to go down to 150 pounds. So I salute to him for even going up and doing that.
Agreed. This is the fight that as boxing fans we want to see and everybody needs to see. Give us a mega fight. We haven't had one of these in quite a while, and I can't go against Bud Crawford because I doubted him once and I was proven mistakenly wrong. So I just think this will be something the fans will love. I think this will be high. It will do high pay-per-view numbers. Everybody will be tuning in to watch this fight. I can guarantee you that.
I'll watch it. I mean, I know I'm someone who doesn't watch boxing, regularly, and I'll definitely watch this fight.
Absolutely, because I mean, we seen Charlo went up in weight to fight Canelo. We see how that ended. It didn't go well for Charlo at all. So yeah, seeing guys go up in weight, it normally doesn't go good for them. And there's no catch weight in this one or no rehydration clause either. So we'll see. Like I said, Canelo does fight every single de Mayo, so he is going to be fighting in May. I don't think he's announced his opponent for that yet, but he normally fights a cupcake on Cinco de Mayo. He doesn't really take really big fights on Cinco, so it's probably going to be an easy guy, and then he'll fight Bud later in the year. All right, let's see some of the feedback here. Says Canelo came from 147 too, but Crawford ain't really looked good in his last fight.
I think he toys with some of the guys he fights a little bit. I think, in my opinion.
Wait, so was Canelo?
His last fight was pretty close.
Was Canelo always at what he's fighting at, or was he at 147? He started at 147, like in his career. He's saying, I don't get that comment.
Yeah, no, he's saying he started that earlier in his career.
Yeah.
All Canelo's most recent fights been at like 160, 65 to 170.
Yeah, so that, I mean, he came from that, but he came from that a long time ago. I mean, Canelo's got 60 plus fights under his belt. Like,
yeah,
I mean, for Crawford to not have been doing it like consistently, like Crawford didn't fight at 160 and then move down to whatever he's at and then go back up. Like he's been at that initial weight. So yeah, he started at 147, then moved up, but he's been fighting at 160 for a minute now. So like Crawford's been at 147 his whole career, right? So I think that's what I'm saying is like it's a lot harder for a guy who's been swimming in that water to then you have to get pulled into the deep end at that 160. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, for sure. Jalil says, much respect to Crawford, but Canelo is pitiful for the way he has ducked David Benavidez. Yeah, that's Benavidez just fought. Unfortunately, that would have been the good Cinco de Mayo fight right there, honestly. But
he doesn't. Canelo has a problem when he fights fighters who are bigger and stronger than him. Look what Bivol did to him. That's a mismatch. David Benavidez, I think, would win that fight. I think Canelo really wants to see him, and he's much younger too.
I mean, but also a lot of people say that, but it's like when you're Canelo or a Floyd or those guys that are at those weight classes, like, and you fought for this long, like you don't need to take those fights. You know what I mean? Like you're the prize that people want to fight, but you can say no to people doing it. So you can say all you want, he should have, he's pitiful for dodging this and doing that. It's just, that's the way the fight game is, man. I mean, if Floyd didn't want to fight somebody, he didn't have to fight him. Like, you know what I mean? These guys are such cash cows for boxing. They can say no to whoever they want, and they don't have to, suffer the ramifications other than us saying that they aren't, they're scared to fight one guy or the other. So it's just the way of the fight world, honestly.
Yeah, it is, but a lot of the picking and choosing has hurt boxing as well too. A lot of these guys.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, a lot of not giving the fans the fights we want, ducking and dodging each other. So it's the gift and the curse.
Marquette did me in 64-70 was the final.
Yeah, started that.
Minnesota scored 20 points in the first half. They've scored like 45 points in the second half on the road at Penn State. So I'm cooked.
Yeah. So yeah, that was all I had. So you guys expecting to see any more movement by this Thursday NBA trade deadline, the Pistons or anything?
Maybe they make a move. I don't know. I think we need to watch the Busy thing, but I think they're not. They're going to keep Busy. He's been playing too well for them, and they're sitting right at 500. They kind of need him, especially with Ivy being out. But I do think Jimmy Butler gets traded. I think Bradley Beal gets traded. I think there's a possibility that KD gets moved. So very, very interested to see what happens.
I think you'll see. As I was saying to you guys the other day, I think you'll see a lot of small moves happening coming up to the Thursday deadline, and then, an hour before the deadline, 2 hours before the deadline ends, you're going to see a lot of the bigger moves. But I think you'll see some smaller guys. I know Yabusele from Philly has drawn some interest. There's a few guys out there who have drawn interest. John Collins is one. I know I talked about him being a free agent next year, but he's drawn some interest of being moved. So I think you'll see smaller trades, but you'll probably see bigger ones happen closer to the deadline, 2 hours, an hour before.
Sure. I got a little more feedback here. He says, my point is Canelo and Crawford is not a size difference. They walk around the same size. I would say Canelo wins, though, because of Crawford's last fight.
Again, I'm not the boxing guy, so I won't really argue that point as much, but I'm just going off the facts of what Raj has conveyed to me. So,
yeah, all the guys I've seen go up, skip weight class and go up to fight guys, it hasn't ended well for him.
Yeah.
Like we just seen it with Canelo and Charlo. So, All right. Well, yeah, good show. Anything else you guys want to add before we get up out of here?
Nope.
Good rest of the week. Rest in peace to my Carolina Tar Heels. The season is officially squashed. We went to Durham and got absolutely steamrolled. So, got to reset on that. Yeah, no, we're not making a tournament. I seen Hubert Davis came out and said, how most of these college programs are hiring their GM to run their player personnel. I guess they're going to get one this offseason. So I guess he's finally realizing, like, hey, we need some help. Like I said, we don't have a big man, so that's the biggest issue. But we got Super Bowl coming up this week. Last football game of the year, boys, until the fall time. So it should be a good one.
Do you think RJ Davis is going to get drafted?
No. He'll go play overseas and be a star, but no, he definitely will not make the NBA.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, there it is. Good show. Everybody watching, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like the video, sports update, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.